Hello friends, Adam here with FED. So I've been covering a lot of news recently, but I wanted to do more of an opinion piece here. So I put up a poll where I asked you guys, do you like that Fire Emblem Engage will have returning characters from older games in the series? And the results were pretty much what I expected. The majority of people, about 2/3, say, yeah, that sounds cool. They said yes. The other third said no. I've seen a lot of backlash about this idea on Twitter and on even in Discord and stuff. Some people aren't excited about the idea of Fire Emblem Engage having returning characters. And it's interesting to see why. And there have been some good comments left on this community post. So we're going to be looking at some of those and responding to them. But before we do that, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're trying to reach 25,000 subs before the end of the year. We've already made some good headway in just these few days since the Engage trailer has dropped, and I really appreciate everyone who has subbed. But we need to keep going. So if you wouldn't mind, sub to the channel, and we'll keep getting some more Fire Emblem content to you. All right, so let's look at some of these comments. We're gonna look at the top-rated comment first. By top-rated, I mean the one that got the most likes. This is from Giga Excalibur. They say, I like the concept in theory, but it all depends on execution. If the legacy characters are just the new gameplay gimmick and serve the same function as battalions and gambits did in Three Houses, I'm so down. But if they're an active presence in the story and detract from the new world and characters, that's where I have a problem. Still, I'm cautiously optimistic and want to hear more information before fully deciding on how good of a decision this is. This is a very measured take. I appreciate it. Very, very middling. You know, very in the middle of the argument. Where I agree that I don't want them to overshadow new characters, but for the most part. But I also am like, I really like a lot of these older characters. I really like Marth. I really like Sigurd. I really like Leaf. I would love it if they played a large part in the story. I really like Micaiah a lot. She's one that I want to see more from. I want to see this new take on these characters. I want to see them get talked about and have a part in the story. I understand that I think it probably is going to be more what you said, Giga Excalibur, that they're going to be more gameplay oriented than actually have a story focus. If anything, we might get some dialogue from Marth, but I doubt we'll hear much about anything else from, you know, especially characters like Leaf or I would say like Leaf or I don't know. I doubt Sigurd's going to say a whole lot because he's Sigurd, right? He's from an older game. I would be surprised if Lynn and Erica and Corrin have like big parts in the story, but maybe they will, who knows. I'm interested to see all this stuff, but really we're just characters that are older and aren't as well known might not get the love that we're hoping for. I also know I mentioned Corrin, but I think it's pretty well known that Corrin's kind of unliked in the fan base. So I think we will see less of a story influenced by these emblem rings. I think they're going to be more like MacGuffins that the party has to collect. And I think that'll be the thing. But we'll see. Who knows? Who knows about that? And I appreciate the cautious optimism. I think that's where I am at too. I'm really hyped on the game. I think it's going to be good, but cautious optimism is definitely the safe way to go. Another comment I want to take a look at is from Ricardo D'Arcangelo. They say, IS needs to get back to making compelling and tactical combat, or they're going to lose a lot of the longtime fans. They want to keep both the longtime fans who supported Fire Emblem since the beginning, but also make the Awakening and Onward fans happy, while continuing to build curiosity for new people to try it. It's possible to do so as long as they understand what each group wants. So that's actually a really interesting point. And then they go on to say more, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'll put it on the screen so you can read it, of course, if you'd like. I appreciate the comment, but I'm not sure I agree that IS needs to get back to making compelling tactical combat, because I think it's just about as compelling as it's ever been. There's definitely, you know, moments where you could say that Fire Emblem like peaked in tactical combat scenarios and stuff, where I think like there's moments in FE5 that are really strong. There's moments in New Mystery of the Emblem that are really strong. There are moments, of course, in Tellius that I really love. But I think there are also moments in Three Houses that are pretty good. There's moments in Fates that are pretty good. I don't think that there has been a lot of gameplay sacrifice recently that would make older fans not like the game just because of that. I think there's other factors that keep older fans away from these games if they stay away for whatever reason. I do have some friends that haven't even touched Three Houses, I believe, at this point. So because they're more into the older stuff. It's, to each their own, But I do think bringing up Awakening is interesting. I think Awakening is one of the few examples in the series where the tactics 100% took the backseat. The gameplay was very secondary to, and by gameplay I should say the map battles were secondary to like unit building, character relationships and stuff like that. Whereas that kind of got fixed a little bit in Fates, I would say. I think the gameplay is a little tighter there. And then I think by the time we get to Three Houses, the gameplay again is, especially on Maddening, is a lot tighter. And it's not perfect by any means, of course not. And I wouldn't even say it's the best in the series or anything like that. But I think those who tried Three Houses and are older fans would still appreciate it, right? And this is, for those who don't know, this is coming from me, a fan of... I got into the series when it first came out in America, basically, right? So I've been playing Fire Emblem for a long time. I played every game in the series. So, like, that's my opinion, at least, as an old-time fan. I think Three Houses was honestly fine as far as tactical depth. Obviously, people are gonna disagree with me there and say, oh, I think Thracia is better, or even, ooh, Binding Blade has better map design, or whatever that means. But I don't think that IS has been... I think they did for Awakening, but I think they learned their lesson there a little bit, and the game got better tactically from there on. So, I don't know, just my thought. And Echoes is kind of a weird case. This is a remake, so I don't really count that in this discussion, I guess. But I do agree that Intelligent Systems needs to keep in mind what different kinds of fans want, and I think they're doing that. I think they're doing that. I think they are. I'm going to say this name wrong. I'm really sorry, but Tuskoob, sorry if I say your name wrong. It'll be on the screen. Makes a really good point here. They say that this idea of the older units returning in the new game, it caters to me as a longtime fan, but it just gives the vibe that they're not confident enough in this new world to let it stand on its own. I think that's a really interesting take, and maybe that's true. But also, I think the Emblem Ring idea probably came before the story. So I think we have it a little backwards. Like, they didn't make the game and say, oh, what if we add in Emblem Rings because the story or this world or characters are kind of bland. I think they made the idea of, oh, what if we have a Fire Emblem game where older characters return to celebrate the series and stuff and all this in the form of these rings or whatever, these magic MacGuffins that make them appear. And then they got the story. So I think that's a little backwards. I see what you're saying, though, and that's definitely a worthwhile concern. That even if that idea came first, that they maybe lean too heavy on it and didn't worry too much about the story. But I think that is a little backwards. But interesting thought. I did want to bring it up because I like that thought. All right. And I like this perspective from Fate. They say, I think it looks really pandery and fan servicey in a bad way. It's not helped by the fact that I'm a relatively new fan who's only really played Three Houses and seen some Fates and most of Shadows of Valentia. I think a lot of viewers here on this channel are coming with that opinion, or that, not that opinion, but that background, where Three Houses was their first game in the series, and then maybe they played Awakening or Fates or watched some gameplay on YouTube, right? And I get that. So to them, this is totally stupid. Like, what the heck is a Sigurd, and why do I care? And based on a poll that I put up, I also put up recently that asked, like, do you know who Sigurd is? There's a large part of the community that answered that said no, they don't know who Sigurd is, right? They don't know who this... To me, I see him in this trailer, I'm like, holy crap, 3D model of Sigurd that actually looks really good, I'm hyped. To them, it's just like, what the heck is a Sigurd, right? So I totally get that line of thinking for new fans. So I just want to say, for new fans, we see where you're coming from, but as an old fan, I get excited to see that kind of stuff. I get excited This is really good for me, someone who played, you know, FE4 like 11, like almost like 12 years ago now, probably actually around that, like 11 or 12 years ago. Like, it's good for me. I'm excited. Secret's dope, you know? Or I see Leaf and I get excited because, like, Thracia is really good. I love Thracia so much. And he doesn't get enough love in the series, so it's good to see it. So, before getting upset about this, think of us old-timey fans who are excited to see Marth and Leaf again, and Roy and stuff. So, just saying. I don't know. Maybe I'm being silly, but that's just my thoughts on that. And the final thing I want to talk about comes from Neo G. They say, I get it's an anniversary, but I really wish they had just made a good game that can stand on its own instead of being console heroes in premise for old heroes to be there. Oh, well. So is this just going to be Fire Emblem Heroes on console? I can pretty safely say no. I can pretty safely say no. I don't think that's going to be the case. If it is, well, heck, if it's a gacha game, it's, you know, if they go full Xenoblade Chronicles 2, make it so you can summon different, make it so you randomly summon heroes in a game that you pay for and all this different stuff, like, that kind of sucks. But, I don't know, if they work it into the story, like, that's the thing with, like, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they worked it into the story enough to where I was, like, into, like, how the world works, and I was like, okay, I get it. Like, core crystals, there's a ton of them. If you find them laying around, you never know what you're going to find. It's just going to be some random blade in there. Maybe you'll get lucky and someone died in some random place and left behind an incredibly rare, powerful blade. Or it's just going to be some random robot thing again. So, like, I get that. It can be, that could be, I get it from, like, a story side. And it kind of helped me reconcile with the idea. And if they did something like that, I could be okay with it. But also, if they did that, that would probably mean we got a lot more emblem rings than the 12 that are being advertised. And that might not be the case. I'm kind of hoping that there are more. I know the story or whatever that we hear says, like, the 12 emblem rings that save the world or whatever, help save the world. I'm kind of hoping that it's like, yeah, there are these 12, like, main emblem rings, but then there's, like, other smaller ones that aren't as important that you can still find and use. Maybe they won't have any dialogue, or maybe they'll only have, like, crit quotes or something, or like a summon quote or something. That'd be cool. But I don't think that that's going to be the case. I don't think we're going to get console heroes, as you say. I think it's going to be a unique premise, and it just happens to have older characters in the game. That's a really interesting thing. It's something that I've seen people say. There's other comments in this very community post that say, oh, it's just, you know, Fire Emblem Warriors cross Fire Emblem Heroes in terms of, like, character inclusion and stuff like that. And I think that's a bit reductive. I think there's going to be more to it, and I'm interested to learn how it works on a story front. But again, maybe that's just me. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and help us reach that 25,000 sub mark. That would be pretty dope. And leave your thoughts in the comments. Maybe I'll do another video responding to comments, probably not on this topic. But I'll probably put up another poll or another thing. So make sure to leave thoughts on comments. Leave your comments on community posts and stuff that I leave, because a lot of times if there's some good response, I make a video on it, and then you can maybe your writing will get featured in an FED video. Wow, dozens of people will see it. Just kidding. Anyways, again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time, friends.